Technology boy? Yeah, here we go. Hey, ready? Okay, so how were the sessions this morning? Were they good? Anybody? Are you guys awake? How are we doing? Carly was awesome? Okay. Did anybody ask her this question that I think is completely, very, very, very important, okay? Did anybody have the courage of asking her why the printer ink is so expensive? Anybody?
She retired from that job.
But still, she ran it for a while, you know? Come on, guys, this is ink. It's like, last time I went to buy a printer cartridge, it was like $80. $80 for ink. Ink. I mean, if Shakespeare had to pay $80 for ink, we wouldn't have English literature. Don't you guys think so? Well, today we're going to talk about something completely different, which is we're going to talk about applications and telephones and all the fun stuff. But let me start with a little bit of history, because I like to put things in context for all of you. Sometimes technology goes so fast that we forget and we lose perspective of what we were using. And I'm going to start with a little bit of history. So we're going to start with a quiz. Anybody? That's the title of the presentation. Yes. Can anybody tell me what this is? Raise your hand. Huh? A computer? Yes. A switch? A switchboard. Who else? Huh? A switchboard? Anybody else? Huh? A telephone switchboard. Anybody else? A mainframe. Okay? You're all right and you're all wrong. This was the ENIAC. This was the actual first computer that looked like a gigantic switchboard. Okay? This thing had about 17,000 vacuum tubes. There were no transistors back there, and I'll tell you guys the difference a little bit later. 17,000 of these things. It had about 70,000 resistors and about 5 million soldering points done by hand. Okay? It weighed an amazing 30 tons, and the processing speed was fantastic. It ran about 100 megahertz. 100 megahertz. 100 megahertz? Seriously? No, I said it wrong. It's 100 kilohertz. Okay? This little phone that I have here in my pocket runs at about 1 gigahertz. For those of you who love the math, this is about 10,000 times faster. Okay? This was invented, this computer started to be built in 1943 at a really small cost, of course, to the US government of $500,000. $500,000. It took 3 years to be built. And can anybody tell me what it was being used for? What was a super big purpose? World War II, absolutely. But do you know what in World War II? What exactly for what?
Codes.
Huh? For codes? Well, very similar. It was being used for calculating ballistic trajectories for missiles and for cannons and for all this stuff. And they had to design this humongous thing that fit in a room. At $500,000. How much is that in today's money? Do we know? It's gazillion dollars. Okay. So do you guys know this guy? Huh? Martin Cooper. Martin Cooper. He's the inventor of the cell phone. In 1973, Martin Cooper made the first phone call using the prototype cell phone from Motorola that he created. And he stood in New York City. They put this thing on top of the tower. And he was able to bring out his phone that weighed about 2.5 pounds and get this thing and put it in his shoulder and make the very first cellular telephone call. 1973. I know, I don't know if you guys know it, I'm usually on TV, talking about technology, and on TV you have to show, props so for people to understand. So I brought a little prop for you guys. Give me a second. I stole this from the room. Okay? So the weight is about right. It's at 2.5 pounds, okay? And it would go something like this. Hello? Can you imagine trying to make a phone call with this in your ear and then what you would look like? But that's what was happening in the 80s. In the 80s, this was the hottest thing around, to have that thing next to you, because you had to pay $5,000 for your cellular plan. Do you think it had any minutes? Do you think it had any data? I mean, can you imagine? But this was the biggest transformation in wireless communication. Because it changed the way we perceive communications. We stopped calling places and we started calling people. So from that point on, instead of calling the office, we're calling John. That's a big difference. Because when you go to the office, what happened? Anybody? Anybody? Huh? You got the switchboard, you got somebody, is he there, is he not there? No, you call John, if he's not, done. So that was a big change. And they were very sturdy, by the way, and I'm sure that phone is too. So, fast forward a little bit, and the phones that we have today have all these capabilities that just 60, 70 years ago, the United States government would have given the national debt to have this processing capacity, and we have it in our pockets. We have it in our pockets, but the question is, what are we doing with this? Are we doing something smart with this? Are we really using all this capability? Are we using all this rocket science and spaceship materials and technology to our advantage? Are we? Well, let's find out. What are we using the phones for? But before that, let me ask you a question. How many of you today you have a smartphone here? Raise your hands. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Now, what do you use it for? Everything? Okay, like what, for example?
Email, social networking,
okay.
Calls, texting my kids.
Okay. Do you talk to your kids anymore?
No, they won't answer the phone, but they answer my text. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, basically everything.
Nice. Okay, who else? What are you guys using the phones for?
Video.
Huh?
Photography.
For photography? Anybody else?
Video.
For video? What else? Calendar, music, what else?
Skype.
Huh? GPS, great. What else?
Skype.
Huh?
Skype.
Skype, webcam. So we're using the phones for all these things. Well, today I want to show you a few applications that we can use in our phone to make our businesses a little bit smarter, to give us a little bit more flexibility when it comes down to go out there and face the music. Napoleon used to say that there's no strategy that survives the battlefield, and I believe in that. I think that as long as you know what you're doing with your business, you're armed, you have the proper tools, you go out there and you make the best of it. You gotta plan everything. You need to get out there. So these phones have changed everything because they have completely transformed the way we communicate. If you look at the numbers today, we have more than 4.5 billion phones worldwide. Can anybody tell me how many people we have on the planet right now? About 6 and change. So we're catching on almost to a phone per person. I mean, this is insane. Humanity's never been so connected in the history. And what's going to happen? What are going to be the consequences? Are we leveraging this? Are we even thinking this way? For our business, no matter what we do, are we thinking globally? Are we thinking big? Are we thinking that all these people have communication? How do we talk to them? How do we reach them? When it comes to phones, just to give you an example, 2 Android phones. The Android operating system in many of these phones is created by Google, a little company. Have you guys heard about it? Google? Anybody? Well, there are about 2 of these phones being activated every second. Every second. And do you think this is a trend that is going to slow down or speed up?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Now, how do you know this? I'm the guy presenting here. How do you guys know this? Huh? Why? You are the users. And technology has the bad habit of creating more technology. The more advanced we are, the faster the advancing becomes. So it's a snowball, and we're starting. Now, more than half of U.S. adults are connected to the web wirelessly. These phones are getting better. They're easier to connect. We're doing more things with them. We can access the web. We have email. We have all these things, which means that the computer becomes a little hassle. The computer starts to look like that phone that I put back there. You gotta pull out this thing and open it up and let it boot, and hopefully it doesn't have a virus, and you have to deal with all this. So the phone is more portable. You have it done. Pull it out of your pocket, hit power, it's on, it has battery, and we're in good shape, right? So the other interesting fact is that Hispanics over-index when it comes to communications and phone usage. Do you guys care to speculate as of why?
What is over-index?
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you so much. Yes, over-index means that Hispanics use the phones more than the bar is general market, which is the general population, and Hispanics are more involved. They're closer to their phones. They use it more. Do you guys know why? It's a culture, you know. It's that if you're in a room, have you been to a meeting where you know it's a different culture, and then you go to a Hispanic room? What's the difference in audio level? Yeah. Anybody? You know what I'm talking about. So that's why. Now, to create this virtual office, so you guys can go out there in the world and be able to talk to your clients and do whatever you need to do, you know, you need some basic applications. So we talked about some of them. Of course, you know, email is very important. You have calendar. You need access to the internet. I mean, I can't get used to the fact that I have internet in my pocket. And I'm gonna give you an example. Yesterday I'm sitting on the plane and I wanted to read a book and I forgot that I didn't buy that book. And I wanted to read it on the spot. But of course, you know, the plane's boarding and everybody go and you have to go through the whole thing and get in line and get the plane. And I sat down on the plane, I opened my phone, I got my computer, connected to the internet, bought the book, downloaded the book, and by the time I was done, I still have another 20 minutes left. Like that, one after the other. What does that mean? This is not even instant access to technology. This is insane, insane. To be able to just go and buy a book with something that you have in your pocket and download it so you can read it on the flight, just like that, the pace of business is changing. It's changing more than we even get to see it on a daily basis. When you look at the younger generations using the phones, they depend on these things. You want to give a punishment? Anybody has a teenager here? You want punishment for a teenager? Take their phone away. That's it. Before it was the video consoles and the game consoles. Like, oh, I'm not going to play if you play with the Xbox. No, not anymore. I take your phone away. Oh, the one you want. You know what I'm talking about. We have, you know, very important, we have, you know, maps and directions. Not only maps for us to find what we're looking for, but also for people to find our businesses. Of course, we need, you know, billing and payment systems, and of course, package tracking. So let's start with the basics. Communications. Skype. Anybody uses Skype here for the business? Couple of people. Okay. What's your advantage? What do you see is the advantage of using Skype for your business? Anybody?
Well, cost.
Cost?
I have offices in Hong Kong and in the Philippines, so it's cost.
So it means that if you had to pay for this for phone calls, you know, how would it work?
Well, I mean, normally if you're calling from your landline, it's going to be extremely expensive. You could still use Skype with a credit card, and it's much cheaper, but Skype to Skype is free.
So basically, communication Skype to Skype is free, but now you can have an application of Skype on your phone, which means that you can call from your phone using Skype, and if you're calling a Skype computer on the other side, it's completely free. Now, how does this work? It goes through the data connection of the phone, the package gets encrypted, you know, the same way that they would in a telephone call, just a different way. It goes through the internet, and boom, you're talking to Hong Kong. And now you have it on your phone. So before, you had to be in the place to make the phone call. Now you can have it with you. And can anybody tell me what's the cost of this application? Anybody?
Free.
It's free? Are these people crazy? What do they do this? Seriously? I don't know if you heard Skype was doing an IPO in the last couple of days, right? It was about $100 million, providing a quote-unquote free service. There's something changing here. Very interesting. Google Voice, one of my all-time favorites, okay? This is a way that I can successfully avoid calls from my mother without, you know, looking like a bad son. Google Voice. Anybody uses Google Voice here? No? A couple people? You too? So you want to do the presentation? Come here. Come on, Jerry. Come on. You're the man.
We're in the same business.
Okay, good. So Google Voice, I mean, this thing is amazing because what happened to me before is that I used to move and to change phones and I would change numbers and I would do this and it was a total hassle. And my friends, you know, you pull their address book of me and you have, you know, 30 phones there, you know, which one am I going to call them today? Eeny, miny, mo, here, maybe it's here. Well, what Google Phone gives you is a universal number. And this universal number is mapped to any phone that you want. You can have it mapped to more than one phone. It's completely free. I have my 786 number is 786-250 and my last name. I picked it that way. I had the capability of searching that way. And then when you call that number, you have Google Voice answers. And then what does it say? You know, tell me your name so I can connect you to Ariel. And of course, you have to say your name, you know. Say, you know, hey, tu mama. Then I know, okay, you know, maybe I can take this or that. You know what I'm talking about. We all have that customer. We all have these people in our lives. Come on, confess it. And then what happens? We can or deal with them or successfully avoid them. But it goes to the voicemail, and it's all virtual. It sends you an email of the voicemail. So of course, I get to hear it, or on the phone, or I get to hear my email. You leave the message, and automatically shows up. The other interesting thing that you can do is that you can have more than one person in the office share this phone number. You can have it as a virtual company number. You can have multiple phones using it, meaning that if you send text messages as part of your communication strategy for your clients, you can have other people other than you, using this number. You can share it, and everybody can send the text message. They'll come from the same number. When it calls, it can ring in many places. It means that it can ring in 5 phones at the same time. So if you're dealing with customer service, you can have people calling you on this number, and then you have 5 phones that ring at the same time. So whoever's there first can pick up the call. Is this valuable for a business?
Yeah.
Now, what do you think is the cost of this?
Free.
Who said that?
I did.
You did? Are you crazy? What do you mean?
Google gives everything away free.
Really?
I love Google.
But why?
Because they make up the money on the ads.
They make their money on the ads. So the business
AdSense.
models have changed. The business models have changed that you have to be, charged for every service. If instead, they make up their money on the ads. Do the ads bother me? Absolutely not. I don't care. I mean, they don't interfere with what I do. It's pretty much free. And it's an application that you can install on your phone in a couple minutes. So something you should try. One of my all-time favorites is this application called Dial Zero. Dial Zero, okay? This is an application that obviously was designed by a very frustrated human being, okay? I don't know if you had a customer service problem. I don't know if you've been able to deal with customer service lately, but what happens when you call a big company? Anybody? What happens when you call a big company, their 800 number? You get what?
The OBIS, you get sent to the OBIS.
You get sent to the what?
OBIS.
Oh, okay, okay. Anybody? Is that the experience for everybody?
You get sent to India.
Huh?
Rotary.
You get anybody, press 1 for this, and press 2 for that, and press 5 for this, and then after you're done pressing, press 5 again, and 2, and if you're unsatisfied, press star, and hopefully you think you're going to be talking to a person, and then they hang up on you. Don't you think? After you spend half an hour clicking this and clicking that, and if you have this and if you have that, and what do you mean by if I have this, or what do I mean if I have that, And then you have all these ambiguous questions that, of course, these people are experts. They think they know what they're asking you, and of course you have no idea what they're asking you. They pressing. At the end, you end up in a call center somewhere. Somebody that doesn't many times doesn't want to talk to you. But other than that, let's assume that there's a good customer service. I mean, this is frustrating. If you're a business owner and you have to deal with these things, it costs you precious time. I don't know about you, but I'm very impatient, okay? I'm very impatient. And when I found this, I was like, yeah, baby. This is what they do. You install this application, and you look up the company that you want to call, and they're going to tell you exactly the sequence that you have to press to talk to a human being, to a live person. Yes, applause, please, yes. Okay? This is big. So you need to deal with a company. You look them up. It tells you press star, and the second prompt, pound, and then star and tap your head twice. And then boom, a person shows up like that. It's pretty amazing. I personally think it's pretty amazing. I mean, I'm very excited about this. And of course, this application is, anybody?
Free.
Thank you. You guys are catching on to this, okay? Good. Okay. So have you guys heard of this trend that's going on right now? It's kind of crazy. Whoa, we got warm water. We have the water. No. Have you heard of the location-based services? LBSs. Anybody?
Geolocation.
A couple people? Location-based services? Okay, I'll show you the application so maybe you guys can relate. Okay, location-based services, things, we're going to be talking about them, augmented reality, Foursquare, of course, the maps, are changing the way that local business is done today, in front of us. This is one application, it's called Layer, that is augmented reality. Do you guys know augmented reality? Okay, augmented reality is a combination. It's a perfect storm of all these services coming into one. You have geolocation, of course, you have GPS. You have the ability of your phone of knowing where it is, but not only where it is, also using the accelerometer or the sensors, the motion sensors from the phone, you can not only tell where it is, but also where it's facing and what it's doing. Now you correlate all these insane amounts of data, and you can be looking at a place through the camera on your phone, and it tells you what are the different components and what are the different businesses that are happening here. this is something that is just starting. It's very recent. So you can go, for example, at a building and you want to rent, and you can open your augmented reality application, look at the building, it'll tell you which apartments are for rent. It tells you who's renting them. It tells you the number of the realtor. Now, this is really good if you are the user, but what happens if you're the provider? Wouldn't you want to be listed? Wouldn't you want people to find you? You know, if you want Mexican food and you're really hungry and you go somewhere and then, you know, you go like that and then, you know, or you can just go like this, oh, Mexican food. You know?
Yelp is using
But-
that right now.
Huh?
Yelp uses that right now.
Well, it's a new technology, and you know there are a few applications that are starting to use it. But the interesting thing is that this is not only for the tangible business that you can see, but also for some intangible things. You know, it's very new. It's very new, but it also location awareness is being utilized because you have this computer in your pocket. I mean, do you guys think this is a phone? Do you guys think this is a phone, or do you think this is a computer that makes calls?
It's a computer.
You know, this is a computer that makes calls. I mean, with a processor of 1 gigahertz, this is 100 times faster than my first computer. So I don't know. I mean, this is pretty advanced. So augmented reality. Foursquare. Anybody heard of Foursquare? Nobody? Couple people? Foursquare? Okay. You have teenagers? Talk to them. This is changing local businesses today. Foursquare, just to give you the premise, is an application that you have. You open it up, and then it tells you what are the different places that are around you, the places that are listed in Foursquare. And then when you get to these places, you do what is called a check-in. So you say, check-in, I'm here. It shows that you're there. It connects it with Facebook, and it connects it with Twitter, and it tells everybody that you're there. But if you do it enough times, then you become the mayor of this place. This is very cool. Because by becoming the mayor of this place, now it means that you have some type of loyalty to this business. It means that you have a relationship with them. But the interesting thing is that now you have badges that you start winning by doing different things. Like, for example, if I travel and I check in here in LA, you get points. And then you start getting all these virtual badges. And you get the traveler badge, and you get the explorer badge, and you get the newbie badge, and people start collecting all these things. And guess what happens?
They sell the information.
Well, that's... Don't spoil the party, okay?
That's why you get it free.
But here's what happens. From a business owner standpoint, people are starting to run Foursquare specials. That people come in and they check in, and then of course, when they check in, guess what happens? These people are connected to Facebook and Twitter, and they're telling all their friends that they're checking in here. So you see your friends frequenting these places, and you want to check them out too. So you start creating a wave. So you can do, a major special, get a free coffee, There are a few companies that have leveraged this very well, like Starbucks is one of them. They've created special badges for people that go frequently to Starbucks. And even though, creating a special badge is, a little bit of an elaborate process, think of these new tools as, potential aids to your business. Don't you want people telling everybody when they're visiting you? I would. But I have a virtual office anyway, so I don't know where do I put it. But that's a different story.
Who provides that service?
Huh?
Who provides that service?
The service provided by Foursquare. They are the actual company. So if you go and you go in the application store, you do a search. And can anybody tell me how much this costs? Because I'm kind of anybody?
Free.
Huh? No, come on, say it like you mean it. Come on. Okay, 1, 2, and 3.
Free.
Thank you. That's better. So Foursquare not only is creating this new type of interaction with locations, but also, for example, you can leave a tip for people that are coming behind you. So you can say, this place has the best steak, but their shrimps are horrible. And then when you go in, you check in and you say, well, Johnny says that the steaks are great, but don't try the shrimp. It's something to keep in mind. If you're the business owner, wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you like to know?
Does the
Sí.
business owner, can they initiate?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So as a business owner, you can go to Foursquare, you can create the location. The only thing you need to add is information on the business and the address. And of course, once they're there, and you see it as one of your options to check in Foursquare, and then we're gonna be doing a demonstration later. And it's amazing. If you have any problems with this, okay, if you have any difficulties operating, please ask a 7-year-old. They will. Okay, I'm sure they're happy to give you a tutorial, half an hour, how to use this. Okay, the applications are many, but we don't have a lot of time. So, goggles, Google goggles. Let me have some water. Of course, Google's in the search business, and in the search business, they want to change the way that people search. Now, what is one of these things that these phones have in the back that is actually getting better and better? Camera. Video and pictures. But now some have it on the front. But think about this. You can take a picture of something and then do a picture search. So you're at a restaurant, you're drinking a bottle of wine, you pull out Google goggles, take a picture of that bottle of wine, and it'll tell you, if it's good or bad wine. How about that? You can go to a landmark. You can go to a location and say, what is this that I'm looking at? And you take a picture and do a search, and then it'll go look it up for you. You can Google, take a picture of a logo. Please don't take a picture of me because it'll break the application, okay? But the interesting application that I found recently is that you can actually do translation. So if you're reading a menu in another language, you take a picture, you can translate it to English. Isn't that amazing? With text recognition. Isn't that crazy?
Will it work as eyeglasses?
Huh?
Will it work as eyeglasses so we can take a picture and tell you what's on it?
Yeah, but you cannot drive with them. You cannot drive with them. But these are applications that I just, go play, Do you guys know how to install applications for those of you who have the smartphones? Everybody knows how to install applications? Okay? Again, we'll bring the 7-year-old a little bit later, but basically you go to the market, the little thing that looks like a shop. You do a search for the name of the application that I told you. It'll show up. You install it, literally, in seconds. You have this functionality in your phone. And again, what is the price for this wonderful thing?
Free.
Thank you. Yes, it is free. Now, these types of applications are just the beginning, okay? And the one that started it all was maps. Something so simple, but it's something so simple that in my last car purchase, it made a $3,000 difference for the dealer. Okay? Because now I have my phone to wherever I want to go. I don't need a built-in GP, nothing. Okay, in my car. They charge me $3,000 for integrated this and massage in the back. I don't want it. Don't want it, What I wanted was a GPS to get to where I want to go. I mean, do you guys know the story, the history behind GPS? I mean, this was a military initiative. The same year, 1973. You know what they started it for? Submarines. For submarines to be able to find their way. The GPS data was not unclassified until the year 2000. The Navy used to fuss the signals of the GPS so people couldn't do location, so they had to open it up. Finally, because of a little problem that happened with a plane that ventured into, was Russian airspace, and it got shut down because of guidance problems. And, it's a sad story, but the information got opened up. So right now there are about 30 GPS satellites, and you're literally talking to a satellite in outer space. So I have a problem when I sit in my car and my girlfriend says, this thing hasn't synchronized yet, it's been 2 seconds. Like, it's talking to outer space. Give it a second. Literally. Be patient, please. This is how spoiled we get when it comes to technology. Don't you guys think? But then if you're a little patient and you connect, then you can get to wherever you want to go. And it gives you turn-by-turn directions. It has an annoying voice that I usually shut down. But it gets me there. It gets me there. And it cost my car dealer $3,000. Now, a couple of things that are interesting here. When you're looking for a business and I want to go somewhere, I don't look for the address anymore. I look for the business name. And if this business name doesn't show up, then I have to go through the hassle of typing in the address. Now, if this is an elective place for me to visit, do you think that I would go through the hassle of typing in the address? Maybe not. So is your business showing up when they're doing a map search? Is it showing up? Can people find you? Can people find you and get there? But there's something else. When they type your business on the web, that is linked to the maps and is linked to the locations, it's also linked to reviews of your place. And people are starting to review what your business is like. What is it like to do business with you? Are you a nice person? Do you have good customer service? Are your products well priced? Whatever criteria they decide to put there. Are you looking for this? You better be. You better be, because I can guarantee you, you're not going to agree 100% with all your customers. But if something bad is being said, you want to know about it. And the opposite is true. If something good is being said, you want to leverage it for your business. Look, all the people have been visiting me. Look at all the good things that are saying. Of course, you forget about the complainer guy. You always have those. Now, the maps are fundamental for our business. If you have any business that have people on the streets and you need them to get to places, it saves a lot of time. Before, I used to live here in LA, and I would do sales. And you know, the type of sales that we're doing, we had to travel pretty far. You know, we weren't selling knives or anything. You know, we were doing high-end computer equipment, but we still had to go visit the clients, and sometimes it was a long, long, long trip. And you had to go out and print them up, and it was a 2-page thing, and you go through it, and then, well, what did he say? Wait, and then go to the paper, and then go back and, you know, check, and, you know, it was a hassle, you know, besides a waste of paper, and that's maybe one of the reasons why the ink is so expensive. Because now we're not using ink for printing directions anymore. Now we have them in our pockets. I mean, this is humongous competitive advantage. So, one of my other all-time favorites, package tracking. Does anybody uses packages for the business? Send and receive packages. Anybody? A couple people? I do. I do all the time. And one of the things that annoys me the most is when they tell you that they did a 2-day shipping and it doesn't get here. Now, from your phone, you can copy the tracking number, put it in this application, and then you can track all the different packages that you're sending and receiving. So if you have an issue, you can see it right then and there. Before, what you had to do? You had to go back to the computer, put a muffler on the thing. And, you know, we had to go back to the computer and then go and do that back tracking, and, you know, again, it's time. It takes. We don't have any more of it. They're not making any more of it. We don't have enough. So you can have all this package being tracked for you. Again, what is the cost of this thing? Anybody?
Gratis.
Gratis. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, little Spanish, spice it up. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, payments, one of my favorites. Have you ever lost your wallet? Anybody?
Yeah.
Couple people? The rest of you, you're lying. Everybody's lost their wallet at one time or another. Or, you know, sometimes left the house with the wallet or something happened. Well, I keep, you know, this is my personal, it has nothing to do with the business, but I keep this PayPal card in my car. And it's a card, you know, like, it looks like a credit card, and I leave it in the glove compartment. If I have any problems that I forgot my wallet, because I do forget my wallet all the time, but, you know, that's a different story. We're at the market one time, and, you know, the time to pay comes, you know, we're cooking dinner for the whole family, and everybody was there and anxious, you know, we gotta hurry up, of course, you know, all these dinners are always running late. Doesn't that happen to you? Have you ever been on time for a family dinner when you're cooking and doing stuff? No! And then we get there to the market and we go through the checkout and there beep, 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 and all this stuff, and this mountain of stuff is like 200 and something bucks, and then I go to reach for my wallet. Nothing. Houston, we have a problem. Of course, you know, I can tell my girlfriend to pay, but that'll probably break the relationship. And then I said, give me a second. I went to the card, grabbed my card. I didn't have any money in this account. I went to my phone, sent a couple $100 to my card, literally in a couple of clicks, paid, and I was out of there. Now, this is still very primitive compared to the way they're doing it in other countries, which they're already paying with the phones. This is going to be our next device for transactions. We have the information there. It's encrypted. Okay? And we can use it. Do you think that having mobile access to payments is going to change the way many of your businesses work? What do you think?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is it something that you would think of when you make your next business decision? It's not going to happen tomorrow, but it's going to happen soon enough. It's already happening. Yes?
I just saw a commercial, I don't know if it's Verizon or Droid. They were talking about making a deposit, and they took a picture of the check. And
Yes.
made it.
Yeah, that's a service being offered by Chase, and you know, that's where things are going. I mean, when you think about it, what do they need to make that check happen? What do they need to get information from that check? They need a signature, they need a routing number, and then an account number. As you know, you're going to have to produce that check at one point or another. You don't? Really? Well, I see. I didn't know that one. That was great. Huh? The images is completely all you need. Okay, you see, that's where we're going.
They need the front and the back for the.
They need the front and the back, and they're ready to go, and then you throw away the check. That's where we're going. Now, when it comes to payments, there's another option here that this little company called Intuit. I don't know. Have you guys heard about it? QuickBooks. A couple people. They're pretty big in the financial space, especially for a small business, and they created a solution called GoPayment. This one. What's the cost of this one? Anybody? And you'll be wrong. It's not free. But for like 10 or 12 bucks a month, you can have this application on your phone and you can charge on the spot. So for example, you know, I'm a plumber, I want to go to a client, and I'm doing the replacing a pipe, I'm doing whatever work I need to do, and by the time I'm done, I can tell the client, here, you can use this little swiping device that is Bluetooth, so it communicates with the phone wirelessly. Or there's an option of one that actually has a receipt printer. Okay, this one costs $100 and something, the other is $200 and something, and you can have somebody on the field collecting payments right then and there, instead of having to wait for the customer to get a check, to go through all that hassle. I mean, last time I had to go through a payment hassle, I wasn't, they had me waiting for 3 months. It's not fun. It's not fun. If you have a business that depends on access to capital and you're turning around, you want it right away. This is one of the solutions. It's not the only one, but I just want to tell you that this is available. So you start thinking this way. So you can start considering that now this became a payment terminal. Why? Because it's a heck of a lot more than the payment terminal at the supermarket anyways. That thing has a processor that is like 100 years old. And it's doing the dumbest work ever. This is way smarter. It has application. It does it. Why not use it? Smart. And that's where we're going. That's definitely where we're going. How are we doing with time? Huh? 50? 15? Okay. Really? Wow. No. Okay. Okay. So, for those of you who want to take this to the next level, you think that your business can actually create an application for your customers. Now you don't need to be a programmer anymore. Now you can actually go and create your own application, okay? And if you go and Google it's called the Android Application Creator, I don't remember the exact name, I'll tell you in a second. Basically, it's free, it's online, and you can go out there and by dragging little boxes around, like you do PowerPoint. Can anybody do PowerPoint here?
Yeah.
Couple people? Raise your hands. How many people can do PowerPoint? Okay, so you can design an app. You're qualified, okay? And if you think that there's a specific application that will add value to your clients, that you can design, that you can create, do it. If not, talk to that 7-year-old. You might be able to do it for you. Okay? And access to this information, to this application creator is, again, completely free. I mean, I'm in the development, in the technology business. I don't know if you guys know about application.
Give an example of
Huh?
an app. Give an example.
An example of an app. Okay. An app can be, what business are you in?
Healthcare.
Healthcare. Okay. You have a lot of regulations, so you got to be very careful
Yeah, lots of
when it comes to, okay.
Yeah.
How do your customers deal with you? How do they, what side of healthcare are you on?
All channels.
Okay.
So I work with seniors, but
Okay.
typically, the phone,
Mhm.
internet.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you can design an application that is just a simple directory of how to reach you. So their kids, when they look for it, they have all your information there. You can design an application to submit a question or to submit information. I mean, there are more options than I have imagination for. But the option is there. So this is not, and this is inspiration, The idea might hit you a year from now of something that you can use an application for, but now you know that the tools are available. Yes?
Can you tie the app to your website?
Absolutely, because the application is going to be running on the phone, but you can have calls that are making, things that are, going back to your website and all that. Absolutely, yes.
You mentioned the Droid. Is that app cross-platform for the app?
This one is for Android. This is for the Android operating system, but there are other tools. When it comes to other platforms, now you have to have professional developers, but eventually everybody's going to get here. Why? Because it's a smart thing to do. There are 100,000 apps out there that you can play with. The question is not if you find one, it's when you find one. You just have to be looking. Yes?
Yeah, I think you should point out that with Droid, you have the open ability to make an app, and if you were on Apple, you'd have to go through an approval process to build your own app.
You work for Verizon?
Put it
You
in
do?
the system. No, I
Just
just
check
but I think that's a big selling point.
Oh.
People don't know that
Yes.
Google
No,
is
we have a data expert here from Verizon, so we're gonna have a question and answer session as soon as we're done, so if you can hold your questions, that would be really good.
Okay, so basically the point is that you have all this power in your pocket. If you need to, get an email, you can get an email. You need to access a web, you can access a web. If you need to open an Office document, you open your Office document, okay? And it's all on the go. Now, with someone's applications, you can modify your Office document on the go, on the phone, and send it back to your client. That's it. That is brilliant. It's never happened before. It's never been this portal. So, how is this going to change your business? Completely up to you. But start thinking about it. Absolutely. Okay. So, I'm going to do a quick recap. By 2013, there are going to be more people accessing the web via their phones than through their computers. Okay? How far away is 2013, everybody? Huh? When? Tomorrow, absolutely. This is here. This is not happening in the distant future. Okay? And you know what happens to some of this data? That they have the bad habit of the numbers of getting here earlier. I don't know if you saw what happened a few weeks ago. Ebooks are outselling regular books in Amazon. Ebooks are outselling regular books at Amazon. Did I say that again? Can I repeat this again? Because the number is mind-blowing. They thought it was going to happen again in a few years. It's happening today. Why? Because today, on this phone, I have an ebook reader, okay, that is totally free. Of course, you have to buy the books, but I can read my books here in a screen that is large enough that does the job. Okay? So, how is this going to change? Incredible. So start planning for it. If your business doesn't have a mobile site today, or a site that can be seen by a mobile phone, start thinking about it. You're not going to need it tomorrow. You're going to need it pretty soon. And if you need to interact with customers, this is most likely the way they're going to get with you. Eventually, computer sales are going to go down. They're going to plunge. Why? Because you don't need them anymore. The whole appeal of the computer is that it had all this processing capability and all this power, and now you have it on your phone. So you don't need it. It's amazing. This is amazing. I mean, I can't believe that in my lifetime this has happened. You know, Eric Schmidt from Google said that in just a few years, you're going to have access to all the information that the world has produced since the beginning in your pocket. How is this going to change? Anybody here play Jeopardy? Okay. Anybody here play Jeopardy? You play Jeopardy? You like Jeopardy? Anybody like Jeopardy? Anybody? Huh? Do you have a DVR? Do you have a recording machine? You do? Okay. You want to be a winner? You want to win Jeopardy? The Tournament of Champions? I'm going to give you the formula. It's really simple. Okay? You're going to take your phone, make sure you have it with you, okay? Put it in Google, and then when Alex Trebek asks the questions, pause. Look it up. And then respond. I guarantee you win. Okay? Because the educational systems of the past have concentrated on how much information we can put in there. The new ones have to adapt to understand that this information is readily accessible. And now what we need to concentrate on is how we're going to make our decisions and how we're going to be better at discerning among all this data that's out there and how we're going to make these decisions. Now you can win Jeopardy. Yeah, it's not under the rules, but who cares? When you're playing out there in your business, no strategy survives a battlefield. If it takes you a minute or two to give your answer, as long as it's the correct one and you have the resources, you come out a winner. So this is important. Now, there's going to be faster and cheaper wireless connections. Of course, you don't need to have a business guru there. Of course, better interfaces and screens, and most importantly, better batteries. Okay, definitely better batteries, because some of the earlier smartphones, the battery life was horrific, and it sort of caused the experience. This is gonna get better. This is gonna get definitely better. And of course, you're gonna have applications for all the functions that you can imagine, that you can access or that you can create. Now, the good news is that this is just the beginning. Thank you very much.
Was I right? Was I right? You can read his weekly column in La Opinión, okay? And he's also a commentator on Univision, okay? Now,